Welcome to the Assisted Living Podcast. My name is Andy Hernandez. Today, we're here with Lonnie Steckler. We're going to get into dementia, which is a big subject when it comes to assisted living facilities. Dementia is an epidemic in our country, I would say. So there's a lot of things that you can do as a family member to be able to help the dementia process, certain things that you can do through the continuum of care with these patients. So, Lonnie, what's been your experience in your career with dementia patients?
It is such a great need in our community. And I've always made a point in my communities to have a memory care building, unit, section, because no matter what, people are always going to need memory care. I always tell people, when we went through the COVID pandemic, and assisted living facilities, nursing homes were really suffering. We were losing residents every single day. But the one thing that remained constant was the memory care. I would have, when we weren't allowed to admit residents, I had literally families knocking on the door saying, please help me. I have my mother, my father, my grandparent at home with dementia. I can't take care of them anymore. So it's a constant, no matter what's going on in the world, in life, it's such a huge need.
What's the first sign that a family member should notice that there's a new onset of dementia going on with their family member?
Obviously, the forgetfulness. I look at the person and do they are they falling at home? I look for that as well. Do they get lost when they're going out driving to the store? Are they, how frequently are they repeating stories? I mean, that's kind of like a normal thing.
I got 40-year-old friends that constantly repeat stories.
Yes, but usually it's you see them today, next week you see them, they repeat the story, right?
Yeah.
You could be talking to your parent and in the same conversation,
They'll repeat the same story.
So that's a red flag.
Yeah. I think sometimes because we are experiencing it in my family, right? I won't say who it is, but we have a family member that is going through it right now. And, they were forgetting how to get to work. They would get lost for 2 hours just driving around. Same thing, repeat the same stories over and over. But it comes and goes. And I think one of the toughest things for us personally was coming to the realization that it was happening. We kind of played it off like, it was a one-time thing. But what's your advice when you start seeing these red flags?
Another red flag is look at the car. Look at the car. Next time they pull in your driveway, you're visiting them. If you see dings, scratches, all kinds of stuff.
So this family member, we got them a car. I was the one paying for it. We were paying for it, and we just got it back from the body shop.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Yeah, yeah. So we had to unfortunately take the car away from him because it was getting to a point where I just didn't. I wasn't confident in it anymore.
Yeah.
And not only for his safety, but for other safeties, that as well. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking about as well. So, but it was tough. We wrestled it. So we were wrestling with it for, I would say, for a good 3 to 4 months. Yeah. Conversation after conversation. Oh, I don't want to do it because I'm going to take away his independence, his dignity, blah. And I'm like, well, I get that, but this is a safety issue now, and I don't want to cause a bigger problem than what's needed. I think a lot of families face this dilemma.
Yes, how to take the keys away. We do a whole episode on how to take the keys away.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
How do you take them away? Let's get into it.
Yeah, plan. You need to have a plan. You can't just take the keys away.
Right.
You got to have a plan. You got to say, okay, we're going to use public transport. We're going to use a service, Uber. Yeah. How are we going to manage this situation?
I've even saw a full disclosure. You're going to laugh. I even thought about stealing the car. and say, you know what, the card, it's under my name. It wasn't really stealing it, but
Yeah.
it was under one of my companies. But I brought to the table. I said, why don't we steal the car in the middle of the night?
It's not a bad idea.
So I'm not saying to take my advice, but that's a thought that I had. I don't know if you've ever heard that from another.
So you get very creative when you're bringing somebody into a memory care facility. Someone who's got full-blown dementia, needs memory care, but they'll tell you, I don't need this.
Right.
I need to be at home.
100%.
So there are hundreds of tricks.
You're right.
We shouldn't call them tricks. We should call them
alternatives or solutions or
something else.
Ways to go about it or
techniques.
Techniques. There we
Call
go.
them
That's
techniques.
The word. Yep.
Exactly. To help during that process of taking keys away, moving them into the facility.
Yeah. So, and one of the things that happened through that process, obviously, can't work anymore, right? So then now home all day, right? So what do? So he started going to a clinic, and it happened to be that the clinic had an adult daycare, but he thinks it's a clinic, not an adult daycare. And he ended up settling there, and like he loves it now. He's there, 4 to 5 hours a day. He's got friends. He's got, he's got the girls cooking for him. Like he's super happy with it.
Maybe he thinks he's going to work every day.
Yeah. Well, he knows he's at a, he thinks he calls it una clínica. He's like it's a clinic, you know?
Good. Whatever works.
Yeah, it worked out. I mean, listen, man, God, because we didn't think we were going to be able to, number one, we thought he was going to fall into the heavy depression. That's what that was the first concern that we had. The second concern was, what do we do with him all day?
Right.
So God, came in and basically found the solution to this, and now he goes to the adult daycare every day. And
sounds like you handled it great, and that's what we're talking about. Is that plan?
Right.
You had a plan in place. You're not just gonna throw him to the wolves, take his stuff away. You got to have a plan in place.
Yeah.
And the first plan may not work. Plan A may not work. So it's good to have plan A, plan B, and plan C.
Right. So what's the difference between dementia and Alzheimer's?
There's no difference. Okay, so think of it this way. Dementia is an umbrella term.
Right.
So there's an umbrella, and then other types of dementia fall underneath that.
Right.
So Alzheimer's is a type of dementia. There are several types of dementia. There's vascular dementia. There's Parkinson's dementia. There's an alcoholic-induced dementia. So there's many types of dementia, and each has its own characteristics.
Right. Because I think people kind of think they're different.
Right?
They're not different. All right, let's go through the questions here. Is it dangerous for someone with dementia to live alone?
Yeah, it can be, of course.
Yeah. At what stage do you think?
What stage? Great question. Dementia. Each resident is like a snowflake with dementia. There's not one that's exactly the same, and so it's hard to tell. It's hard to answer that question. Someone can get by in the early stages of dementia, living at home under some sort of supervision, monitoring. But as they progress, obviously, you got to be very careful with that. Very careful. Why? Because you see all the time places. Seniors who have an apartment, condo, whatever it is that go on fire. I look at their age, and as soon as I see the age pop up, they're 78 years old, 82 years old. I'm like, they probably have dementia,
right?
And weren't being supervised and left the stove on, cooked something in the microwave they shouldn't, and that's what happens.
Yeah, so I have a stat here. 44% of assisted living residents have been diagnosed with dementia. So you see a lot of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why I think memory cares are so prevalent now that they're actual need. Like you don't have a lot of communities that have memory care.
Not all communities have memory care. So there, it's important to know the difference. So you can't just, if your loved one is having early signs of dementia, they could more than likely get by in an assisted living facility, but eventually they're going to need a specialized unit or facility. So when you're shopping around for assisted living facilities, you definitely want to take a look at that. And the difference between assisted living and memory care, it's under the same license, but there's certain educational requirements that memory care facilities must have
Right.
for their staff
Right.
in order to operate as memory care.
What safety risks do families underestimate the most?
What safety risks?
Mm-hmm.
Elopement is a huge
Huge.
issue.
We've
Um,
seen it. We've seen it.
I I've experienced it firsthand, and it's not a fun thing.
No.
It's really
No.
scary, and so so you know a lot of times family members will experience that when their loved one is at home and they wander off and they don't know where they went. Um, so that's a huge sign, huge red flag, and a huge risk.
Yeah, absolutely. I was overseeing one community in Miami, and the guy went missing for like 2 days. Couldn't find him.
Yeah,
He ended up, I forgot what place they found him. They found him by a bus stop.
yeah,
Just scary stuff, man.
yeah,
Scary
and it
stuff.
happens quick.
It happens quick.
It happens very quick.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so let's get into a couple more questions here. What would you say to a son or daughter struggling with guilt right now because they're putting their loved one in a memory care or in an assisted living facility?
I would say that if you find the right facility, that's the right place, right environment for them to be in.
Right.
Why? Because they have staff that specialize in taking care of them. They have specialized dietary services. They have specialized activities. It's for most people, that is a better environment than being at home, isolated, surrounded by four walls.
What does good dementia care look like in an assisted living facility?
Activities. You want to see an active community. If you walk into a community and you see everybody sitting around and you don't feel the life in there, that's a red flag. If you go in there and you see staff that's passionate and active, and the residents are active and they're creative in their activities, that's really one of the first signs that you want to look for. The staff, the care staff, are they caring when they're communicating and approaching residents with dementia?
Yeah, do you have any specific, so in our communities, do you have any specific activities that is dedicated towards helping with the dementia or helping these type of patients?
Absolutely. And
Or residents?
there's a lot of different, some facilities are using Montessori approach. There are a lot of different programs specifically tied into activities. For me, all of that is great. I'm more of a feeling guy.
Right,
So
right.
when I go into my communities, I want to see the activities personnel really into it, really creating unique stuff. There's a lot of videos on social media of like cool, unique activities for seniors that they love, and it could be so simple. I saw one video of an activities person leading this activity with seniors. They're all around, and she dumps a bunch of balls in the middle, and they all have laundry baskets, and it's like a hungry hippo activity, right? Like, it's so simple,
Right.
yet so brilliant,
Right.
because the residents are loving it. They're
Right.
having you see it in their faces.
Right.
They're having such a great time. You got to understand also that, like, you're a family member. You're looking at what's best for your loved one, okay? And what works for you or what may be fun for you is not necessarily the same thing for your loved one, and vice versa. So it's like, they always say it's like dealing with kids. Like, you want to put your kid in the best daycare, in the best school. So the same thing applies for your parents.
All right. Well, I think this was a very informational episode. I know a lot of families are struggling with it. We were struggling with it as a family. We're still struggling with it.
Yeah.
It's a process for us. I think we have it under control, but I know that it's going to continue to elevate.
Did you find that it sounds like you found the right environment for him?
Yeah, right now,
Yeah.
yes. But I don't know if that's going to change, right? Because he's a little bit difficult to manage sometimes.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and so one facility may not be the right fit.
Right.
One environment may not, but there are other environments.
So funny enough, as we close here, I was telling my wife, that it's good that he's there because this is a good transition eventually into assisted living, and adult daycare plays such a huge role. And we just had Ozzy Herrera on, which owns adult daycares in the Miami area.
I know Ozzy. He's
Yeah,
great.
he's amazing. And his centers are unbelievable. You talk about activities, go there and watch what they do. They got going on all day. But this situation that he got into with the clinic, adult daycare, is going to help us when the assisted living conversation comes, because it's coming. And I've told my wife he's going to have to end up in assisted living. He's not going to be able to live alone much longer.
Yeah, a great transition.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, great episode. Make sure to subscribe, like, comment, turn on the notification so you know when our content is out. I'm also on Manect, Andy Hernandez on Manect. We can help you with consultation if you're running an assisted living facility and you need help from your marketing operations. We can help you definitely with that. And if you're a patient or a loved one or family, just DM us on Instagram, and we would love to help you through your process. Thank you for tuning in.
Thanks.